Chapter 3 Atoms and Molecules. Ancient Indian and Greek philosophers have always wondered about the unknown and unseen form of matter. The idea of divisibility of matter was considered long back in India around 500 BC before Christ. An Asian philosopher Maharishi Kannad postulated that if we go on dividing matter, meaning in Hindi meaning padarth, we shall get smaller and smaller particles. Ultimately, a stage will come when we shall come across the smallest particles beyond which further division will not be possible. He named these particles Parmanu. Another Indian philosopher, Pakuda Katyayama, elaborated this doctrine and said that these particles normally exist in a combined form, which gives us various forms of matter. Around the same era, ancient Greek philosophers Democritus and Leucippus suggested that if we go on dividing matter, a stage will come when particles obtained cannot be divided further. Democritus called these individual particles atoms, meaning indivisible. All this was based on philosophical considerations, and not much experimental work to validate these ideas could be done till the 18th century. By the end of the 18th century, scientists recognized the difference between elements and compounds and naturally became interested in finding out how and why elements combine and what happens when they combine. Antoine L. Lavoisier laid the foundation of chemical sciences by establishing two important laws of chemical combination. 3.1 Laws of Chemical Combination. The following two laws of chemical combination were established after much experimentation by Lavoisier and Joseph L. Proust. First law, law of conservation of mass. Is there a change in mass when a chemical change takes place? Activity 3.1. Take one of the following sets X and Y of chemicals. X consists of copper sulfate 1.25 gram, second barium chloride 1.22 gram, and third lead nitrate 2.07 gram. And Y consists of sodium carbonate 1.43 gram, sodium sulfate 1.53 gram, and third sodium chloride 1.17 gram. Prepare separately a 5% solution of any one pair of substances listed under X and Y each in 10 ml in water. Take a little amount of solution of Y in a conical flask and some solution of X in an ignition tube. Hang the ignition tube in the flask carefully. See that the solutions do not get mixed. Put a cork on the flask. Weigh the flask with its contents carefully. Now tilt and swirl the flask so that the solutions X and Y get mixed. Weigh again. What happens in the reaction flask? Do you think that a chemical reaction has taken place? Why should we get a cork on the mouth of the flask? Does the mass of the flask and its contents change? Law of conservation of mass states that mass can neither be created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Second law, law of constant proportions. Lavoisier, along with other scientists, noted that many compounds were composed of two or more elements, and each such compound had the same elements in the same proportions irrespective of where the compound came from or who prepared it. In a compound such as water, the ratio of the mass of hydrogen to the mass of oxygen is always 1:8, whatever the source of water. Thus, if 9 grams of water is decomposed, 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 grams of oxygen are always obtained. Similarly, in ammonia, nitrogen and hydrogen are always present in the ratio 14:3 by mass, whatever the method or the source from which it is obtained. This led to the law of constant proportions, which is also known as the law of definite proportions. This law was stated by Proust as, in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in definite proportions by mass. The next problem faced by scientists was to give appropriate explanation of these laws. British chemist John Dalton provided the basic theory about the nature of matter. Dalton picked up the idea of divisibility of matter, which was till then just a philosophy. He took the name atoms as given by the Greeks and said that the smallest particles of matter are atoms. His theory was based on the law of chemical combination. Dalton's atomic theory provided an explanation for the law of conservation of mass and law of definite proportions. According to Dalton's atomic theory, all matter, whether an element, a compound, or a mixture, is composed of small particles called atoms. The postulates of this theory may be stated as follows. First, All matter is made up of very tiny particles called atoms which participate in chemical reactions. Second, atoms are indivisible particles which cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. Third, atoms of a given element are identical in mass and chemical properties. Fourth, atoms of different elements have different masses and chemical properties. Fifth, atoms combine in the ratio of small whole numbers to form compounds. Sixth, the relative number and kinds of atoms are constant in a given compound. You will study in the next chapter that all atoms are made up of still smaller particles. So some information on John Dalton, that John Dalton was born in a poor weaver's family in 1766 in England. He began his career as a teacher at the age of 12. 7 years later, he became a school principal. In 1793, Dalton left for Manchester to teach mathematics, physics, and chemistry in a college. He spent most of his life there teaching and researching. In 1808, he presented his atomic theory, which was a turning point in the study of matter. So, some questions based upon the above topics. Question number 1. In a reaction, 5.3 gram of sodium carbonate reacted with 6 gram of acetic acid. The products were 2.2 gram of carbon dioxide, 0.9 gram of water, and 8.2 gram of sodium acetate. Showed that these observations are in agreement with the laws of conservation of mass. Sodium carbonate reacts with acetic acid to give sodium acetate plus carbon dioxide plus water. So this is the reaction, and based upon this you have to solve the problem. Question number 2. Hydrogen and oxygen combine in the ratio of 1:8 by mass to form water. What mass of oxygen gas would be required to react completely with 3 gram of hydrogen gas? Question number 3. Which postulate of Dalton's atomic theory is a result of the law of conservation of mass? Question number 4. Which postulate of Dalton's atomic theory can explain the law of definite proportions? What is an atom? Have you ever observed a mason building walls, from these walls a room and then a collection of rooms to form a building? What is the building block of the huge buildings? What about the building block of an ant hill? It is a small grain of sand. Similarly, the building blocks of all matters are atoms. How big are atoms? Atoms are very small. They are smaller than anything that we can imagine or compare with. More than millions of atoms when stacked would make a layer barely as thick as this sheet of paper. Atomic radius is measured in nanometers, where 1 nanometer is equal to 10 raised to minus 9 meters. So here is a table of relative sizes of atoms. Like atom of hydrogen is in 10 raised to minus 10 meters in radius. Molecule of water 10 raised to minus 9. Molecule of hemoglobin 10 raised to minus 8. Grain of sand 10 raised to minus 4. And 10 raised to minus 3. Apple 10 raised to minus 1. So we might think that if atoms are so insignificant in size, why should we care about them? This is because our entire world is made up of atoms. We may not be able to see them, but they are there and constantly affecting whatever we do. Through modern techniques, we can now produce magnified images of surfaces of elements showing atoms. What are the modern day symbols of atoms of different elements? Dalton was the first scientist to use the symbols for elements in a very specific sense. When he used a symbol for an element, he also meant a definite quantity of the element, that is, one atom of that element. Berzelius suggested that the symbols of elements be made from 1 or 2 letters of the name of the element. Like hydrogen was represented with a circle in middle dot, carbon was a circle full of black, oxygen was a circle full of white, phosphorus was sulfur with three bars from arriving from the center to the circumference. Copper was a circle with inside C, lead L inside the circle. For silver it was S inside the circle. For platina it was P, and for gold it was in circle in bracket inside G with small dots on the circumference. So in the beginning, the names of elements were derived from the name of the place where they were found for the first time. For example, the name copper was taken from Cyprus. Some names were taken from specific colors. For example, gold was taken from the English word meaning yellow. Nowadays, IUPAC, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, is an international scientific organization which approves names of elements, symbols, and units. Many of the symbols are the first one or two letters of the element's name in English. The first letter of a symbol is always written as a capital letter uppercase and the second letter as a small letter lowercase. For example, hydrogen represented by capital H, aluminium represented by capital A and small n, not capital A and capital L, cobalt represented by capital C, small o, and not capital C and capital O. Symbols of some elements are formed from the first letter of the name and a letter appearing later in the name. Examples are first one chlorine, capital C, small l, zinc, capital Z, small n, etc. Other symbols have been taken from the names of elements in Latin, Latin, German or Greek. For example, the symbol of iron is Fe from its Latin name ferrum. Sodium is Na from natrium. Potassium is K for kalium. Therefore, each element has a name and a unique chemical symbol. Passage The above table is given for you to refer to whenever you study about elements. Do not bother to memorize all in one go. With the passage of time and repeated usage, you will be automatically be able to reproduce the symbols. So apart from the above mentioned, which I mentioned the symbols, there are many more like argon, capital A small r, barium, capital B small a, boron, capital B, bromine, capital B small r, calcium, capital A small c, carbon, capital C, chlorine, capital C small l, fluorine, capital F, gold, capital A small u, iodine, capital I, iron, capital F small e, lead, capital capital P small b, magnesium, capital M small g, neon, capital S small e, uranium, capital U, sulfur, capital S, potassium, capital K, and silicon, capital S small I. So now coming to atomic mass. The most remarkable concept that Dalton's atomic theory proposed was that of the atomic mass. According to him, each element has a characteristic atomic mass. The theory could explain the law of constant proportions so well that scientists were prompted to measure the atomic mass of an atom. Since determining the mass of an individual atom was a relatively difficult task, relative atomic masses were determined using the laws of chemical combinations and the compounds form. Let us take the example of a compound carbon monoxide formed by carbon and oxygen. It was observed experimentally that 3 grams of carbon combines with 4 grams of oxygen to form CO. In other words, carbon combines with 4 by 3 times its mass of oxygen. Suppose we define the atomic mass unit, earlier abbreviated as AMU, but according to the latest IUPAC recommendation, it is now written as U, unified mass, as equal to the mass of one carbon atom. Then we would assign carbon an atomic mass of 1.0 U and oxygen an atomic mass of 1.33 U. However, it is more convenient to have these numbers as whole numbers or as near to a whole number as possible. While searching for various atomic mass units, scientists initially took 1 by 16th of the mass of an atom of naturally occurring oxygen as a unit. This was considered relevant due to two reasons. Oxygen reacted with a large number of elements and formed compounds. This atomic mass unit gave masses of most of the elements as whole numbers. However, in 1961, for a universally accepted atomic mass unit, carbon-12 isotope was chosen as the standard reference for measuring atomic masses. One atomic mass unit is a mass unit equivalent to exactly 1/12 of the mass of one atom of carbon-12. The relative atomic masses of all elements have been found with respect to an atom of carbon-12. Imagine a fruit seller selling fruits without any standard weight with him. He takes a watermelon and says this has a mass equal to 12 units, 12 watermelon units or 12 fruit mass units. He makes 12 equal pieces of the watermelon and finds the mass of each fruit he is selling, related to the mass of one piece of the watermelon. Now he sells his fruit by relative fruit mass unit, FMU. Similarly, The relative atomic mass of the atom of an element is defined as the average mass of the atom as compared to 1/12 the mass of one carbon 12 atom. So here is a table of atomic masses of few elements where hydrogen is having atomic mass of 1 U, carbon is having of 12 U, nitrogen of 14 U, oxygen of 16 U, sodium of 23 U, magnesium of 24 U, sulfur of 32 U, chlorine of 35.5 U, and calcium of 40 U. So how do atoms exist? Atoms of most elements are not able to exist independently. Atoms form molecules and ions. These molecules or ions aggregate in large numbers to form the matter that we see, feel, or touch. So, questions based on the above topics: define the atomic mass unit. Question number 2. Why is it not possible to see an atom with naked eyes? Topic 3.3. What is a molecule? A molecule is in general a group of two or more atoms that are chemically bonded together, that is, tightly held together by attractive forces. A molecule can be defined as the smallest particle of an element or a compound that is capable of an independent existence and shows all the properties of the substance. Atoms of the same element or of different elements can join together to form molecules. Molecules of elements. The molecules of an element are constituted by the same type of atoms. Molecules of many elements such as argon, helium, etc. are made up of only one atom of that element. But this is not the case with most of the nonmetals. For example, a molecule of oxygen consists of two atoms of oxygen, and hence it is known as a diatomic molecule, O2. If three atoms of oxygen unite into a molecule, instead of the usual two, we get ozone, O3. The number of atoms constituting a molecule is known as its atomicity. Metals and some other elements such as carbon do not have a simple structure, but consist of a very large number and indefinite number of atoms bonded together. Molecules of compounds. Atoms of different elements join together in definite proportions to form molecules of compounds. Activity 3.2. Refer to table for ratio by mass of atoms present in molecules and for atomic masses of elements. Find the ratio by number of atoms of elements in the molecules of compounds. The ratio by number of atoms for a water molecule can be found as follows. For H, ratio by mass is 1, atomic mass unit is 1. So mass ratio by atomic mass is 1, so simplest ratio is 2. For oxygen, the ratio by mass is 8 and the atomic mass is 16. So mass ratio by atomic mass is half. So simple ratio is 1. Thus the ratio by number of atoms for water is H is to O is equal to 2 is to 1. What is an ion? Compounds composed of metals and non-metals contain charged species. The charged species are known as ions. Ions may consist of a single charged atom or a group of atoms that have a net charge on them. An ion can be negatively or positively charged. A negatively charged ion is called an anion, and the positively charged ion a cation. Take for example sodium chloride. Its constituent particles are positively charged sodium ions Na plus and negatively charged chloride ions Cl minus. A group of atoms carrying a charge is known as polyatomic ions. Writing chemical formulae. The chemical formula of a compound is a symbolic representation of its composition. The chemical formulae of different compounds can be written easily. For this exercise, we need to learn the symbols and combining capacity of the elements. The combining power or capacity of an element is known as its valency. Valency can be used to find out how the atoms of an element will combine with the atoms of other element to form a chemical compound. The valency of the atom of an element can be thought of as hands or arms of the element. Human beings have 2 arms and an octopus has 8. If one octopus has to catch hold of a few people in such a manner that all the 8 arms of the octopus and both arms of all the humans are locked. How many humans do you think the octopus can hold? Represent the octopus with O and humans with H. Can you write a formula for this combination? Do you get OH4 as the formula? The subscript 4 indicates the number of humans held by the octopus. The valencies of some common ions are given in the table below. We will learn more about valency in the next chapter. There are some like sodium Na+, potassium K+, silver Ag+, magnesium Mg2+, aluminium Al3+, hydrogen H+, chloride Cl-, iodide I-, bromide Br-, sulfide S2-, phosphate PO4 3-. The rules that you have to follow while writing a chemical formula are as follows. The valencies or charges on the ion must balance. When a compound consists of a metal and a non-metal, the name or symbol of the metal is written first. For example, calcium oxide, sodium chloride, iron sulfide, copper oxide, where oxygen, chlorine, sulfur are non-metals and are written on the right, whereas calcium, sodium, iron and copper are metals and are written on the left. In compounds formed with polyatomic ions, the number of ions present in the compound is indicated by enclosing the formula of ion in a bracket and writing the number of ions outside the bracket. For example, MgOH twice. In case the number of polyatomic ion is 1, the bracket is not required. For example, NaOH. Formula of simple compounds. The simple compounds which are made up of two different elements are called binary compounds. Valencies of some ions are given in the above table. You can use this to write formula for compounds. By writing the chemical formula for compounds, we write the constituent elements and the valencies as shown below. Then, we must cross over the valencies of the combining atoms. Example, like if we are writing the formula of hydrogen chloride HCl, downside it should be valency 1 1, and we are cross connecting it, so the formula of the compound will be HCl. Whereas for formula of hydrogen sulfide, symbol H and S, valency below is 1 and 2, cross connecting it, so 2 goes with H and 1 goes with S, so formula would be H2S. Similarly for carbon tetrachloride, it will be CCl4, and for magnesium chloride it will be MgCl2, because in magnesium we consider the charge. For magnesium the charge is 2 plus, and for chlorine it is -1. So -1 we go with Mg and 2 plus we go with Cl, so MgCl2. Thus in magnesium chloride there are 2 chloride ions for each magnesium Mg plus 2. The positive and the negative charges must balance each other and the overall structure must be neutral. Here like you can say, like if we are taking MgCl2, if Mg has charge +2 and Cl has charge -1, so +2 plus twice into -1, so the charge would become 0 and the atom structure would become neutral. Note that in the formula the charges on the ions are not indicated. More examples are like aluminium oxide Al2O3, calcium oxide CaO, sodium nitrate NaNO3, and calcium hydroxide CaOH twice. Note that the formula of calcium hydroxide is Ca the OH the whole twice and not CaOH2. We use the bracket when we have 2 or more of the same ions in the formula. Here the bracket around OH with the subscript 2 indicates that there are 2 hydroxyl groups, OH groups, joined to one calcium atom. In other words, there are 2 atoms each of oxygen and hydrogen in calcium hydroxide. Another example is sodium carbonate Na2CO3, ammonium sulfate NH4 twice SO4. So some questions based upon the above topic. Write down the formula of sodium oxide, aluminium chloride, sodium sulfide, magnesium hydroxide. Question number 2. Write down the names of the compounds represented by the following formulae. Al2SO4 the whole thrice, CaCl2, K2SO4, KNO3, CaCO3. What is meant by the term chemical formula? How many atoms are present in a H2S molecule and PO4 3 minus ion? Molecular mass and mole concept. Molecular mass. This concept can be extended to calculate molecular masses. The concept of the atomic mass. The molecular mass of a substance is the sum of the atomic masses of all the atoms in a molecule of the substance. It is therefore the relative mass of a molecule expressed in atomic mass unit U. Calculate Here's an example. Calculate the relative molecular mass of water. Calculate the molecular mass of HNO3. As you all know, the hydrogen's atomic mass is 1U and of oxygen it is 16U. So the molecular mass of water, which contains 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen, will be twice into 1 plus 1 times 16. So it would be 2 plus 16, 82. 18. 2 plus 16, sorry, 18 U. So the atomic mass of HNO3 can also be calculated like the atomic mass of H plus the atomic mass of nitrogen plus thrice the atomic mass of O, which is 1 plus 14 plus 48, which is equal to 63 U. So formula unit mass. The formula unit mass of a substance is the sum of the atomic mass of all the atoms in a formula unit of a compound. Formula unit mass is calculated in the same manner as we calculate the molecular mass. The only difference is that we use the word formula unit for those substances whose constituent particles are ions. For example, sodium chloride, as discussed above, has a formula unit NaCl. Its formula unit mass can be calculated as 1 into 23 plus 1 into 35.5, which is 58.5 U. So some questions based upon the above topic. Calculate the molecular masses of H2, O2, Cl2, CO2, NH3, CH3OH. Question number 2. Calculate the formula unit masses of ZnO, Na2O, K2CO3. Given atomic masses of Zn is equal to 65 U, Na is equal to 23 U, K is equal to 39 U, C is equal to 12 U, and O is equal to 16 U. So coming back to the topic, mole concept. Take an example of the reaction of hydrogen and oxygen to form water. Twice H2 plus O2 gives twice H2O. The above reaction indicates that two molecules of hydrogen combine with one molecule of oxygen to form two molecules of water, or 4U of hydrogen molecules combines with 32U of oxygen molecules to form 36U of water molecules. We can infer from the above equation that the quantity of a substance can be characterized by its mass on the number of molecules, but a chemical reaction equation indicates directly the number of atoms or molecules taking part in the reaction. Therefore, it is more convenient to refer to the quantity of substance in terms of the number of its molecules or atoms rather than its masses. So, a new unit, mole, was introduced. 1 mole of any species, atoms, molecules, ions, or particles is that quantity in number having a mass equal to its atomic or molecular mass in grams. The number of particles present in 1 mole of any substance is fixed with a value of 6.022 into 10 raised to 23. This is an experimentally obtained value. This number is called Avogadro constant or Avogadro number, represented by N subscript O, 0, named in honor of the Italian scientist Amedeo Avogadro. 1 mole of any substance is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 in number, as 1 dozen is equal to 12 numbers and 1 gross is equal to 144 numbers. Besides being related to a number, a mole has one more advantage over a dozen or a gross. This advantage is that one mass of 1 mole of a particular substance is also fixed. The mass of 1 mole of a substance is equal to its relative atomic or molecular mass in grams. The atomic mass of an element gives us the mass of one atom of the element in atomic mass unit. To get the mass of one mole of atom of the element, that is molar mass, we have to take the same numerical value but change the units from U to G. Molar mass of atoms is also known as gram atomic mass. For example, atomic mass of hydrogen is equal to 1 U. So, gram atomic mass of hydrogen is 1 gram. To find the gram molecular mass or molar mass of a molecule, we keep the numerical value the same as the molecular mass, but simply change units as above from U to G. For example, as we have already calculated molecular mass of H2O is 18U. From here we understand that 18U water has only one molecule of water. 18 gram water has 1 mole molecules of water, that is 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 molecules of water. Chemists need the number of atoms and molecules while carrying out reactions, and for this they need to relate the mass in grams to the number. It is done as follows: 1 mole is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 number is equal to relative mass in grams. Thus, a mole is the chemist's counting unit. The word mole was introduced around 1896 by Wilhelm Ostwald, who derived the term from Latin word moles, meaning a heap or pile. A substance may be considered as a heap of atoms or molecules. The unit mole was accepted in 1967 to provide a simple way of reporting a large number, the massive heap of atoms and molecules in a sample. So, an example: calculate the number of moles for the following: 52 gram of helium, 112.044 into 10 raised to 23 number of helium atoms. So, solution is like consider number of moles as small m, given mass as small m, molar mass as capital M, given number of particles as capital N, Avogadro's number of particles, as we already as I earlier told, capital N with subscript 0. So first it is told that atomic mass of helium is 42 for you, as we know, and molar mass of helium is 4 gram. So the number of moles is equal to given mass upon molar mass, and given mass is 52 grams. So 52 divided by 4, 4 gram is the molar mass of helium. So we get 13. So the number of moles of helium is 13. So in second one, we know that 1 mole is equal to 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 particles. So the number of moles is equal to given number of particles upon Avogadro number, and in the question it was 12.044 into 10 raised to 23. So divided by 6.022 into 10 raised to 23, we get 2 moles. So we have 2 moles of helium atoms in the second sub question. So some questions based on the above topic. Question number 1: if 1 mole of carbon atom weighs 12 gram, what is the mass of 1 atom of carbon? Question number 2: which has more number of atoms, 100 grams of sodium or 100 grams of iron? It is given that atomic mass of sodium is 23U and atomic mass of Fe is 56U. So what have you learned? During a chemical reaction, the sum of the masses of the reactants and products remains unchanged. This is known as law of conservation of mass. In a pure chemical compound, elements are always present in a definite proportion by mass. This is known as law of definite proportions. An atom is the smallest particle of the element that cannot usually exist independently and retain all its chemical properties. A molecule is the smallest particle of an element or compound capable of independent existence under ordinary conditions. It shows all properties of the substance. A chemical formula of a compound shows its constituent elements and the number of atoms of each combining element. Clusters of atoms that act as an ion are called polyatomic ions. They carry a fixed charge on them. The chemical formula of a molecular compound is determined by the valency of each element. In ionic compounds, the charge on each ion is used to determine the chemical formula of the compound. Scientists use the relative atomic mass scale to compare the masses of different atoms of elements. Atoms of carbon 12 isotope are assigned a relative atomic mass of 12, and the relative masses of all other atoms are obtained by comparison with the mass of a carbon 12 atom. The Avogadro constant 6.022 into 10 raised to 23 is defined as the number of atoms in exactly 12 grams of carbon 12. The mole is the amount of substance that contains the same number of particles, atoms, ions, molecules, or formula units, etc., as there are atoms in exactly 12 grams of carbon 12. Mass of 1 mole of a substance is called its molar mass. So, exercises. Question number 1. What are polyatomic ions? Give example. Question number 2. Give the names of the elements present in the following compounds: quicklime, hydrogen bromide, baking powder, potassium sulfate. Question number 3. What is the mass of 1 mole of nitrogen atoms, 4 moles of aluminium atoms, aluminum's atomic mass is 27, 10 moles of sodium sulfide. Sodium sulfide's formula is Na2SO3. So question number 4, convert into mole. 12 gram of oxygen gas, 20 gram of water, 22 gram of carbon dioxide. Question number 5, what is the mass of zero point 0.2 mole of oxygen atoms, zero point 0.5 mole of water molecules? Question number 6, calculate the number of molecules of sulfur S8 present in 16 gram of solid sulfur. So here I end the chapter. Thank you for listening to it, and we will meet again. Hope you understood the chapter. Thank you.